Hello everyone. So in this video, I want to share and talk about some common complaints that people usually have when they start using Jira, or when they are asked to use Jira or move to Jira, because in organizations, in companies, there are different teams. They are not using Jira all the time, or maybe it's too small of a team. Maybe they never really felt the need to use a tool like Jira. But if they have to use Jira, then they, of course, may have some concerns. And in this video, I want to talk about those concerns, those complaints, and I want to talk about 5 or 6 of them, because I deal with organizations where they want to move to Jira, but not each and every team is interested, and not each and every team is willing to go to Jira and start using it, because whenever there is a change, people usually resist. And this is something that we, or I as a consultant, an Atlassian consultant, I try to help, I try to resolve, and I try to reassure my my clients, or especially those team members, those small teams or big teams who are not familiar with a tool like Jira. So the first thing that people complain about a lot is about the usage of the tool. Now, there are a lot of people who are comfortable using Excel sheets. They are comfortable using emails. They are comfortable using chat, because not because they are tech savvy, but because they have experience using those tools, and they have been doing it for many years. And especially when you try to introduce a new tool, let us say you announce that yes, we want to move to Jira in the next 6 months or 1 year, and each and every team should be using Jira. So this is a very obvious thing that they are concerned with usually, and that is, of course, the ease of use, how difficult it would be to use a tool like Jira. And the solution is, of course, very simple. It is basically with the help of training and onboarding. We, as a Jira consultant and Atlassian consultants, we spend time with those team members. We work with them, we help them understand the tool. And this can be done, of course, by doing a formal training, but more than doing a training, because training is usually like one way. You're talking about something, you're showing them something, and they consume it. But I think it has to be in the form of some kind of a coaching or mentorship. So this is something that I personally prefer. I mean, I can talk about the features of the tool. I can show you different features that you have in Jira. I can talk about the use cases, but in most cases, you need to spend time with those teams, especially new team members who have never really used a tool like Jira, because it is not like you give them the tool and they start using it and expect everything will work perfectly and wonderfully well. So you need to spend time with them. You need to educate them, train them, create documentation, create videos like these. Also at the same time, conduct some workshops or some engaging sessions with people who are going to use the tool. The second thing is, of course, covered because when people are concerned about the usage in terms of difficulty, with some time, with some training, with some coaching, you can resolve it. So usually they ask me, Ravi, do we need a training? In most cases, I tell them, you don't really need a training of like 2 days or 3 days. You just need to spend like maybe 1 hour, half an hour, 15 minutes, depending upon your role. So when you are building some training courses for your team members, try to target those target audience, because if you are trying to help a tech team, a development team who is going to use Jira for delivering, let us say, some software-based project, then you need to spend some time with the Scrum Masters, with the product managers, and with the developers, and you need to probably talk about how they can not only manage their projects, if they are, let us say, following Scrum or maybe some methodology, but you need to also spend time with their developers, understand or make them understand how they can use features like smart commits, and they can create branches. But if you're working with program managers, if you're working with stakeholders, maybe they just need to monitor a roadmap, maybe they just need to monitor some conference page or some pie chart. That is it. So depending upon the usage of the tool and also who is going to use the tool, the training has to be configured. And people who are usually on higher positions, they are not really going to spend a lot of time in the tool, and training has to be customized for them. So it has to be very focused training. It has to be very precise training, focusing on the things that they need to do. That is it. So maybe for them it would be, okay, log into Jira, click on this link and view your dashboard. Maybe that is the training for them. But for someone else, the training might be different. So when you are making this training plan, create a plan which is, of course, catering to the right audience. Now, when people start using Jira or when they are asked to move to Jira, they are usually concerned about, of course, we have covered the training part, we have covered the education part. We know Jira is not a difficult tool to use, but Excel is used heavily in organizations, and Excel is a great tool because it is something that I'm not really aware of any other tool that can replace Excel. Of course, when you're trying to create a report, when you're trying to capture something, there are tools that will do specific things, but Excel is a tool where they not only can store the information, but they can also manipulate it, they can also report on it, they can also share it with everyone else. So Excel has a lot of wonderful use cases, and I don't really think Excel can ever be replaced. Of course, it depends on what you're trying to achieve, because when people start using a tool like Jira, then it has to be communicated very clearly to everyone who is supposed to use a tool like Jira that there are some benefits of using a tool like Jira, but at the same time, Jira is a web-based tool. Majority of your time using the tool would be on a browser. And of course, if you're expecting Excel-like capabilities, there might be some apps that you can take a look at, but the way you work on Excel is different from the way you work on Jira. So user interface, the ability to modify things easily is not there yet on Jira. Although if you are using, let us say, Jira Work Management has that list view, calendar view. So you as a consultant, you as a Jira admin, or I should probably, say to myself, it is our responsibility to make them aware of these wonderful features or good features of the tool. Of course, Jira is not really perfect in each and everything. Things that you can do with Excel, you can't really do it with Jira. The same is true for Excel, because Jira is a collaborative tool. Collaboration is really important here. So you have to, your leadership, along with, of course, you as a consultant who is going to promote and talk about Jira, you should make it very clear to your team members, and it should be always in your agenda that, okay, we are going to use a tool like Jira, but these are the wonderful, great things that we will achieve because everyone can work together. We'll be able to report consistently. So focus on the benefits, and of course, don't really try to replicate each and everything that you're doing on Excel in a tool like Jira. You have to rethink. You have to change your approach. The next point is about, and this is actually something that you might wonder why people are asking about it, because Jira is known for workflow. So when people start using a tool like Jira, they are aware that Jira is a workflow engine. If they are not aware, then they might eventually come to know about it, because when they start using a tool, they will be introduced to this wonderful concept of workflow. And workflow basically dictates your life cycle, what you're supposed to do. Let us say there's a team who is using no tool at all. So, or maybe they're using some list or some sheet, and all they care about is list of activities and who is working on it. So they don't really have any workflow, but in a way there is always a workflow, there is always a process. It could be as simple as, okay, you have something to do, then that something is in progress and that something is done. That is it. So at bare minimum, you always have 3 statuses, 3 steps three phases in your process, and you have to work with the team. You have to understand their needs, and when you start using a tool like Jira, it is a wonderful opportunity to also review your process and tell them, make them aware of the benefits, because when you have even a simple workflow, even a simple process, then you can track the progress. You can communicate to your stakeholders about the overall work that you're doing, because you might be working on 10 different items or 100 different items, but with the help of a workflow, you can all report easily, because there are reports in Jira. And when people move from some tool to Jira, let us say from Excel or from emails, they usually have like some information in some form, in some format. Let us say if they're moving away from Excel sheet, then in Excel sheet, you can of course have different columns where you can store up things like, okay, the activity name, the date by which you want to finish it. And of course, you may have different attributes or different columns. So you as a consultant, you have to work with them to understand how they will store those things in the tool like Jira, because you have to maybe reuse the fields, system fields, because there are system fields that you can use. Take a look at those fields that you can use, and at the same time try to understand what custom fields you might need to create. Of course, don't really create too many custom fields, but you have to make them aware that yes, you are going to, when you move to a tool like Jira, you will have the ability to store your information, and you can also report on it. So you should make them comfortable and reassure them that yes, you can still preserve your data in a tool like Jira, because we have that capability. Now, how do people know when they have to work on something? So basically, and basically these questions are about, these questions might seem very simple or in a way stupid, but they are not, because they are valid. They are all valid questions. Now, when you're working on, let us say, a tool like Jira or any tool, usually you want to collaborate. And when you want to collaborate, you want to understand who will do what. And in Jira, of course, there is a concept of assignee. So you can always assign things to people. And of course, they all need to be there in the tool. So make them aware of this capability in the tool, because when you have multiple people working on Jira, you can create a wonderful pie chart to show who is doing what. And the last point is very common. I mean, almost everyone asks me this question. Ravi, we are doing fine in Excel sheet. We are doing fine in Google Sheets. If you move to Jira, can we make a plan? So the answer is not really yes, you can make a wonderful plan. Yes, you can definitely make a plan in Jira, but at the same time, you have to first understand what they're doing in their current tool or in no tool at all. Like, what kind of plan are they talking about? Are they talking about doing something on a specific date? Are they talking about doing something over the period of time? Are they talking about who will do what in the next few days or few months? So usually when it comes to a plan is nothing but a way to track in the beginning, or not even track, but in the beginning to store somewhere the list of activities, their target start date or end date, and who will do what, bare minimum. And of course, you can have multiple forms and different complexities, because in Jira you can always have dependencies. I mean, not really true dependencies, but you can have issue links. So you can definitely store this information in Jira, but at the same time, you have to understand from the team with whom you are working with and trying to move them to Jira. You have to understand and work with them to understand basically the expectation of a plan. What exactly is a plan for them? And in most cases, it is nothing but some information that they will store in the tool. Good thing about Jira Cloud is, which unfortunately is still not there on Jira Data Center. On Jira Cloud, you have Jira Work Management. So Jira Work Management is wonderful because you can have a plan, a basic roadmap. And I believe in most cases, if not all, in most cases, that plan actually works because you have some visibility. Of course, it is not really detailed. And There are always, those 20% cases where you may struggle, but there are solutions, there are workarounds. You can always use advanced roadmaps, which unfortunately is still not uh, the the basic feature of Jira. It should be, but there are some ways, and that is the thing with Jira, because if you are trying to use a tool like Jira, you have to make a decision, you have to make a choice in the beginning, whether you need to use a premium version of Jira or a basic version of Jira, or a standard plan based on the requirements of your team members. If 90% of your teams, they're happy with the basic roadmap, then great. But if only 20% of them are happy with the basic roadmap, then of course you need to think about whether you should be using Jira Premium or not, or maybe rely on an app. So that is all I wanted to talk about in this video. In this video, I just wanted to give you some ideas, some tips on how to tackle these difficult questions, especially when you're working as a Jira consultant for your clients or maybe within your organization. All right, that is all for today. Thank you very much. Bye bye.